Hello, Jill Tisbury here again. Welcome back to part 2 of our 3-part series on creating these beautiful mackerel inspired fish. So let's have a look at them. We've cut the blanks. And what we're going to do is turn them into this. So I'll just take that a little bit closer so you can see that. So it's quite straightforward. We've got transparent turquoise on the top, we've got some opal white on the bottom, yellow in the middle, and the rest of it we're going to get these markings by using some black with a Powder Pro. You also might notice that on here there's a sort of a steel look, and that's achieved by using steel blue. So I'll talk you through each of the colours and the applications as we go through. So let's get started. Pop this over here so we don't lose it. So I've got my fish here. We're going to have powders that we're using, so I need to put a mask on, which I am doing. Ideally you're going to use an N95 mask, which is one of these, because it gives you much better protection, but so that you can still hear me, we're going to do it with this. So I'll start with the first colour, and this is the first colour. This is 1116. It's a transparent turquoise blue, and that gives you this beautiful rich blue that also gives you some great, because it's transparent, it gives you some great reflections when the light shines through the fish. So we've done this on other videos. We've used sieves before, so this is just a tea strainer sieve, and we've also got a small one for application of the yellow when we get to that. So let's get ourselves some turquoise powder. Well, one thing before we actually start on this that I need to say to you, we've talked about the fact that it's rough on one side, smooth on the other. It makes no difference to which side you put the powder on. It does make a difference, however, if you want your shoal to be going all in the same direction. So when John and I did this, we sat opposite each other and then realised we'd got some fish going in one direction and some fish going in the other. So when you look at our wall in the kitchen, I think it's quite unique, because the main shoal is going one way and there's some little stragglers that are coming the other way. So you may want to do that on purpose. You may want them all going in the same direction. Whatever you do, decide on the direction you want and away you go. So half fill your tea strainer sifter, if you're using one of these, with powder. And I'm going to go, you want to make sure you're half on and half off, because you want really good coverage here. And I am going to go halfway along my fish. When I say halfway, I mean lengthways, so you can see the bottom bit is still left uncovered at this point. Now I want a really, really lovely deep turquoise colour, so I'm making sure I've got a really good layer on here. So I'm going to go over that once more, actually, to make sure I've got a good layer. There we go, just tapping it and gently moving along. It's no rush, you just need to make sure that the layer is nice and even. There we go, so I'm happy with that. I've got 2 more kiln props here. I'm just going to move this out the way. Kiln props make it easier to pick your piece up, and they also make it easier to recover, or to actually sift over the edge and then be able to recover any powder that's gone over the edge. So back on here, I'm just going to adjust my mask because my glasses are steaming up. Okay, that's better. So we'll get rid of that. We're done with the turquoise. Pop that to one side, and now I'm going to go with the white. So this is dense white opal. You can use any of the whites, just be careful with the dense white because it takes ages for the heat to distribute evenly through dense white, or it can do. Not so bad when you're using it as powder on here, but it can be a bit of a tricky colour. So you can see what's happened is I've got this white underbelly of the fish. I'm quite happy with that. I don't want mega amounts on there. It's a very quick project to do, so you can get yourself a little production line going if you're making a whole shoal of these. Reclaim. And that's my white done. So the next colour that we're going to use is the yellow. Ooh. So I'm going to use a little sieve for this because I only want tiny bits of yellow. Some mackerel have red around the gills as well, so they don't all want to be the same. So I'm going to start about here, so probably about just over 2/3 of the way along, and nice and evenly, right down that where the lateral line of the fish is going to be. You've got this sort of yellow. So not too much at all, just a tiny amount there. Pop that onto one side. And now I'm going with the steel blue. So my main colours are done. This steel blue, the reason I'm using this is because if you look at a mackerel, it has got that steely sort of colour on the top of it. And steel blue is actually a beautiful, beautiful colour. If you cap it, it will remain blue. If you leave it, so it's kind of this, fairly true to this sort of blue. If you leave it open, like we're going to do here, you'll find that it will oxidise and you'll get this steel-like finish, a steel-like reaction to it. So I want a little bit of that in here, and I'm going to go over where the tail is and right over the edge, just the top edge. That's the only place I'm going. So I'm being quite gentle, but I'm making sure that I've got a decent coverage on here, because this is where I want this steel effect. And what that does is just gives you that extra depth, a little bit of shading, a little bit of 3D look. So right over the edge, go right the way back, and I'm actually going to come down the tail a little bit. So all of these markings obviously serve to camouflage the fish if you're looking at it from underneath, or if you're looking at it from above. It either blends with the sky or it blends with the sea. Amazing what you pick up when you start working with wildlife and wildlife imagery. Oh, I put the lid on there and I didn't recapture it, so let's take that. Let's get rid of this. Good to go. Right, here's the really cool bit. So this is the bit where we start adding the patterns and we start adding all the detail into our fish. So I'm just going to find myself another one of these. So when you look at the eye, I'm going to do the eye first because that will actually allow us to sort of work outwards from there. This is my little cartridge for my Powder Pro, and you'll see in one of our other videos where we talk about using a Powder Pro. Really versatile tool. We use them in quite a few projects. So that's now full of powder. It's full of yellow. And I'm going to go over here because if you look at a mackerel, it's got yellow around the eye, it's got black around that, and it's got a black pupil in the centre. So we're going to be fairly steady here, so support it with your finger and then just about an inch in from the front and just above where that yellow line is. You're going to put a little, that's all you need, a little mound of powder. Empty that back in there and we're definitely done with the yellow. So this is sunflower yellow 0220 that I'm using, and I've got myself a bead here, a beady eye. Let's get rid of that, get myself a pair of tweezers and very gently just drop that on top of that pile of powder, and you can now see we've got a yellow outline on the eye. Okay, now comes an extra steady bit. We're now going to charge another cartridge with black powder, and this is where we're going to put the markings for the top. Just tapping that so it goes all the way down. There we are. Put this over here. So we're going to put the markings down the back of the fish. We're going to do the mouth, the gills, the fin on this side. I'm not sure what fin that is. My husband would tell you, as a keen fisherman that he is. But I'm also going to go around the eye. So we'll do the eye first. Oh, there you go. So you do need to practice maybe to be a bit steady for that one. So we've got the rim around the eye. We're going to do the mouth now. And they kind of have a drooping mouth. They never look as though they're smiling. Maybe they ain't got much to smile about, but there you go. And now I'm going to do the gill covers. So they've kind of got a little round plate at the top, and that comes down here. And then this fin, what's this fin called? Do you know what this is called? Maybe you can comment and tell me, all you naturalists out there.
Pectoral.
Pectoral fin.
Plectorial.
Plectorial fin. Oh, there you go. Now you learn something new every day. So there's a few little bits of markings that we've got here. So these markings, when you look at them, it's like a sort of zebra effect. So you've got Z shapes, you've got Y shapes. I'm just looking at the one that I've already done and kind of following along with that one. You don't want them all to be the same. It doesn't matter if you've got a curve or a little Z bit on there. And they get kind of lesser towards the end. So I think I'm happy with that. Just get rid of that black before we finish. I always do that because otherwise I end up with cartridges full of powder and I don't know what the colour is until I knock some of it out. Okay, very last bit that we're going to actually put on here are these. So I'll show you what we've got and look at the detail. It looks a bit blingy there. This is dichroic flakes on clear glass, and this is medium. So it's like a frit, but it has dichroic. I don't know where that one went. That's dichroic coating on it. So right where the lateral line would be, I'm going to put these because it does have a little iridescent line right down the middle. You don't have to, I just liked them because I like the fact that the light catches them. So not too many, but all the way along I just added a crystal every now and again to indicate this lateral line that you get down the side of all fish. They actually used to communicate quite a lot, so he needs to have his lateral line. So not too many. Oh, there we go. Last one, I think. Didn't want to come off. There we go. Pop these back. You definitely want to recover these because dichroic crystals can be quite expensive, but thankfully I use them few and far between. So let's get rid of those, put them back in the pot. And then the very, very, very last thing to do is take your colour shaper. So I'm using this colour shaper, which is just a straight edge. There are lots of different types. Again, I'm going to support my hand with this, and I just want to add extra bit of texture where I've put this pectoral fin. There we go. And also here where we've got our tail. This will be quite transparent. I just want to add this extra texture on here. It might shift some of the powder off. Follow the lines, and don't forget that you need it to curve all the way round. And then once we've finished this, these are going to go in the kiln on a tack fuse. We'll put the firing schedule up. Actually add that, just take that a little bit further up there. Make sure that we're happy with that. Brilliant. That's my fish done. So I'm ready to go with that. He can cook in the kiln on a tack fuse, and we'll be ready to install him with the rest of the fish once he's cooked. So I hope you found that useful. They're very, very simple to do, but they are really, really effective when they're on the wall, as you can see in part 3. So thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to hit the little bell so that you don't miss any other videos that we do. And see you in part 3.